Good evening. It's Thursday, February 7th?
Eight.
February 8th, 2018. The time is 7:06. This is the monthly meeting of the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission. I would ask our members starting to our right to introduce themselves.
Good.
Tara Wolf.
Kathy Chappell, Secretary.
Ron Moat, Vice President.
And I am Donald Webb. First order of business will be reading and approving the minutes from last month. Were there any questions, corrections? If not, I would ask for a motion, excuse me, to approve the minutes as written.
I make said motion.
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are approved. The next thing we have is the payment of the bills. This will be an expensive one because our bonds get paid in January and June, I believe. But we have $15 for the sewer works, $5,800 for Crossroads Engineering, that is for the Greenway work we've agreed to pay on. $225 for Tim Showalter, who's nice enough to film and edit our meetings and make us look good. Then Regions Trust Corporation, $225,000, that's our bond payment. And $23,520, that's the bond interest. And then the final one is a $750 fee to Regions, that's for handling all this. One of the nice things was last year, we were able to renegotiate our bonds and save a ton of money, consolidate them, and actually cut a year off of our debt service, possibly two if we pay them off early. So with all that mentioned, are there any questions on the bills? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make said motion.
A second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, if you guys will sign, we have paid the bills.
Is there a total on there?
Yeah, it was, did I not read it? It was
55,310.
$255,310. Kevin, do you want to go? Sure. First up will be Kevin Parsons. He is going to talk about our 465 Emerson Avenue exchange. I brought you, you can share those with Kathy. I gave one to Robert, but this was his proposal he sent, and I printed it off this afternoon.
Do you have enough copies? I brought some extras.
There you go.
I apologize for the lateness again there too today too.
That's okay.
Thank you.
You got one?
Yeah, I got one. I printed off 3.
Well, we haven't seen you since last year. It's good to see you again. As we talked earlier before the meeting, at least we're not getting that 12-inch snow overnight through tomorrow, so good shape there. Don had contacted us here a couple weeks ago regarding starting this project up this year. Hopefully we all can. And then asked me to make some comments on funding, which I sent him some emails on that particular. That's really not our forte, and not funding chasings we don't do. We definitely don't write grants, at least in my office. So we were looking at that, and then he asked for a proposal, and in the short amount of time, we decided to look at a sub-phase for the next phase. I don't know if you remember, you probably don't have those with you. Last October, we had prepared a preliminary estimate of the plan for the signs with all the additional items that would add to the overall cost. Those were estimates based on, the concept plans. There's been real design yet. It's all conceptual work. So we felt these are safe numbers, and hopefully by the time we do the real design, we'll have better numbers, more definitive, and hopefully less. But that kind of established our preliminary budget back then. When we looked at moving forward here tonight with our reduced proposal, it's really what we're calling a design development phase. And it takes the design of the sign that we prepared last year, if you remember that.
Yes.
I'm sure Tara hasn't seen any of this yet, but and refining it. Again, this was nothing but a computer drawing. We didn't have a lot of detail to it. So we thought, instead of trying to jump into the whole project and figure out what the sign's really going to look like, we would break off just a piece and get that refined, so you're happy with it, the mayor's happy with it, and start coordinating with NDOT now during this initial phase. So we get them on board to know what we're trying to do out here. And see if they'll have any extra hoops to jump through, which we don't think they will, but just so they're knowledgeable of it, I think they'll react much better. So that's how we prepared this particular proposal. So really, it's taking the designs we had, putting them down to hard lines, to scale, figuring out what they're exactly going to look like, how they're going to be built, and then represent that to you. And we'll be able to establish, like I said, a more realistic cost estimate opinion by doing so. Because again, we were just using round numbers and square footages here when we developed this early one. So that's kind of what the proposal's about. It's pretty short and succinct if you read it yet. It does include the NDOT coordination, of course, coordination with the city administration, and Brad Meriwether, DPW also needs to be involved throughout this process. So we're thinking also it'd be fairly quick, this phase. We could, assuming you're meeting the next 2 months in a row, I don't know what month you finally take off, but we figure we'd have this done and completed within the next 2 months. So two months from tonight, you'd say move forward, and we can go to the next phase if you're ready to. So without reading the actual proposal, unless you want me to, that's kind of my presentation in a nutshell. I didn't bring any drawings. I thought you might still have a couple boards here, but they're down at another room, I guess, right now. So, but if you remember what everything looks like, or if you brought your master plan booklet with you, they're in there. So, any questions?
Any questions? So, would this be to approve up to $9,000 or flat $9,000?
Well, we can do it either way. And, if you want us to move forward the whole project, we can rewrite a new proposal. I mean, we have to get some cost on some survey work, some possible engineering assistance for some of the NDOT related stuff. And that's why we weren't able to pull that off for tonight.
And that's fine.
But yeah, this thing says lump sum, but we can do hourly up to. We just thought it'd probably take about that many hours to get to the point we need to get to, so. And if you look at the overall budget we gave you last October, and I rehanded out tonight, that's about 20% of the total project is where that's at.
Right.
So, but it's also 20%, we're not gonna have to repeat after this phase, so it's kind of, we've got that done, and then we take it to the next phase for the full construction document phase, and get the bid package ready.
So, would you want us to sign one of these, or how would you want to go about that, Kevin?
Well, I think last time, Bob had to review it. We used the same exact language on this one after you had edited it last time.
Don
Here.
handed me a copy, and I've read it.
You've got it?
Yeah, I have no
Okay.
problem with it. We need a motion.
Okay.
So you can sign it tonight or, this week, either way.
Sign it. If you approve it and sign it, then that constitutes the notice to proceed.
Yeah, that's the way we've
Okay.
worded that, just to make it easier, so.
Any thoughts or commentary on this?
Not for me.
Everybody okay with making a motion and going forward, or does anybody want to pause, or? Okay, well, if you guys are fine, I'd like to get this thing going, especially, try to get this in this year.
Sure.
So I would ask for a motion to approve up to $9,000 as written in Kevin's proposal. And I'd ask for a motion for the board to approve that.
I make said motion.
I'd ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries by unanimous. Do you want us to sign one of these, or how do we want to do this? Or does Bob need to do something?
Do you need to sign it at all, Bob, or just Don? Yeah, I think last time you signed it, he
Okay.
just reviewed it, and,
Okay, well, we'll take a couple of copies, one I have it drawn on, and
Okay.
we'll get them signed, give you one, give Robert one, and we look forward to hearing from you. I noticed on billing, if you're gonna bill us, we will not be meeting in June, because that's vacation.
okay.
So, I know you had net 30, but either bill us before like whatever the second Thursday in May is, or plan on not getting paid till the second Thursday in July. So
Okay.
that'll be our dead period, but other than that, we should be able to handle this.
All right, we can do that, yeah. We did change that to 45 days instead of 30, so up to Bob's request. And
Can I see your sketches to show Tara?
Sure.
This is her first meeting, and she, Yeah, I do, I just failed to bring it tonight. We're thinking of having,
Does that include?
this would be on the offering on 465 to welcome people into the community.
Yep.
I think what it
I just didn't want to give a motion or something. I'd like to at least look at
project
it.
there, and I think do we have the analysis maps? Yeah, we went through kind of the analysis.
Okay.
We have the description,
Gotcha.
you know, and then we also have signage for the bridge. That's not part of this phase.
Is that in
right
this
now, so
book?
I think it is, yeah. I think everything we did's in that book.
I think so too. Keep going.
I just didn't look at it for it.
We're thinking of having eventually one of these, I mean,
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thanks.
Look forward to hearing from you. Very exciting.
We probably won't get started tomorrow morning, but we will very soon.
That's fine.
Thanks, it's good to be here again tonight.
You bet, thank you.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me. Up next, we have a group that's asked to present or talk to us tonight called Humble Impressions. And I've been told Rebecca Perdue will be speaking.
Yes. Hi, I'm Rebecca Pardue with Humble Impressions, president. You have to excuse me, forgive me, I didn't bring any literature with me. It was one of the absent-minded things I walked out and forgot. So forgive me, I could probably get it later and bring it back up. Our mission that we have, we've been going on 7 years. We originally started out at our Madison and Stop 11 location, which we still remain. But we opened up another building 3 years ago at our 3530 South Keystone. Well, the owner had sold the building, which leaves us having to move out. And we have the mission, we just need a place to keep it going. We serve so many people a day. Our average is 120 people that come in with needs of food or clothing. And with our mission, everything's donated through the community because the community has all come together to help one another. And we're all volunteers, and we pay it forward back into the community to our church food pantries. So with that, we have a big surrounding of love. Not everybody knows about us, but as we keep telling everybody and word of mouth gets around, it's just a big circle of love because everybody knows that when they help, they're helping someone. They don't know who they're helping, but they're helping someone. And that's the mission that we are on, to serve and love one another and help each other out. We have emergency food pantry for those that don't have any food, and we have emergency clothing or even furniture for those that are in dire need, just lost their job, fires, floods, whatever it pertains to. We're there. We don't turn you down or refuse you. We're open 6 days a week. So, you know, if the need's there, they can come in. They don't have to wait, you know, or stand in line and someone say, well, sorry, you have to come back tomorrow. But we're there. We're there to love and to help one another. But with all that, we have the mission, and we're trying to sell what we can right now at our Keystone location, but we need a building. So I'm here to ask, with behalf of my followers here that want to stand up, do you have a building that we could come into here in Beech Grove? Because half of the people that come to Keystone live in Beech Grove, and they do come and they volunteer and they help out. And we didn't know if you had a building available to where we could start our mission here.
You had mentioned, Rebecca, that you were in negotiations with the owner of the old Ben Franklin location here on Main Street.
He has not returned the call, so I've called him and he hasn't returned the call back. But I don't know who to contact. I know that you guys here in Beech Grove might know of more buildings than I do, to be on foot to try to call them and get return calls. I didn't know if you had any empty buildings that you were aware of or that you could maybe open the doors for us.
You had also mentioned to me that you were thinking of maybe a partnership with Servant's Heart.
Me and Bill had talked prior because his heart is so big that he wants to help so many people. But he wants to be able to be in a bigger building to where See, he services people too, just like we do, only he does it twice a week. But we're there every day except for Mondays. We're closed on Mondays. But the furniture, the clothing, I mean, he still does the same thing that we do, and we give to families in need. So we were talking with his food pantry, as big as it is, that maybe we could get under one roof, if it was big enough, two separate entities, to where he did the food pantry, and then we did the thrift store part, to where people that were in need on a daily basis, like we do now, can come in and get help. And then he could have his regular food pantry twice a week with extra help.
Sure.
I mean, think of all the volunteers we have now, we would have a lot more, just to be able to service under one building. It would be awesome.
How many square feet would you need? Either by yourself or combined with Bill?
Combined with Bill, we would probably need about 12,000, and then with just Humble, probably 5,000. With the 1,000 for donation area, because it fills up quick.
I guess right off the top of my head, the only thing I can think of that's even remotely vacant would be the Dairy Queen, the old Dairy Queen up at, what would it be, 18th or 19th in Albany.
Uh-huh.
The other places I can think of that are vacant would be the Kroger that they've now moved across the street. That's not Beech Grove, that's Indianapolis, but that's a vacant, and there's a few other storefronts along there that are vacant. As far as downtown Main Street to meet those types of square footage demands, I can't really think of anything that big.
Kmart's closing too.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's right.
Or two small places.
Yeah, I can't really think of, I mean, I'm trying to think down there by where the South Side Times used to be. I think those are vacant too.
Does anyone here tonight have any contacts with the owners of the old Ben Franklin building, the one that she's been trying to work through? And
Do you know the name of the owner? I used to know a gentleman that owned it, and he passed away. I think his daughter inherited it. Do you know their name?
He said his dad and mom wanted to retire, and this was just a couple weeks ago. But he didn't want to be the landlord. But he said he had someone that was looking at the building, and he didn't know he was going to let him have the chance, but he would get back with me if something changed. And I called and left message again just to see if something had changed, but he hasn't returned it. So.
Sounds like the family that inherited it that I knew, it sounds like they sold it, because that doesn't sound right as far as who you're waiting on to call. I can call them and ask if they still own it, but
Yeah, I just didn't know if you knew of any buildings that could be available for maybe free space or low rent. Because we sell everything for 99 cents.
That might
And,
be one of those you'd be talking to, like, look around and talk to like commercial real estate agents, to see if they could help you. Because we really don't have that capability. I mean, we all work jobs and this is a volunteer organization, and we just don't have resources like that to put you in touch with, we know this building's empty or that building's empty.
what about Don Whalen?
That'd probably be a good name, who Ron just mentioned.
I didn't hear.
She's the real estate agent.
And she had been on the RDC,
Right.
right, Kathy?
yeah, when we got on.
Board of Zoning Appeal has 3 realtors. Rick Greenfield, and I don't know the names of the other 2.
Where you're at now, that you're having to move, is that someplace you've been paying rent, or was that you donated to use?
He's more or less donated it. I mean, we give him so much to help with the utilities and stuff each month, but he's been very, very good to us. But when we did move in at that point in time, the building was up for sale, and he let us know that. He let us know that he was selling the building because of the fact he couldn't keep it rented.
Right.
But, we kind of got comfortable. We was there 3 years, and it was like, he sold it. So, it was like, oh, no.
Have you ever contacted any churches that might allow you to move in?
I don't really know of
Most
any.
churches have a recreational area or a
What about that one
conference.
across the street from you? Are they using all of their square footage?
They rent that out.
Do they?
There's a Methodist church at the corner of 9th and Alton.
Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
And part of the
Bless you.
church is now a place that you can rent for functions, weddings, receptions, and such. I don't know if it's big enough that they could block part of it off to accommodate you, or if it's just out of the question. I don't know the square footage.
Would you
Okay.
know who to contact there?
Yeah, he's coming to my house tomorrow to do work. Yeah, I do know a contact there, but there's also a phone number posted if you drove by there.
Well, I mean, that's what we're reaching out for, to see if you guys can help us in any way, because we really want to keep our mission going. Like I said, there's so many people that need, and they really love what we're doing.
Sure.
Of course, it's just not us, it's the community itself that are joining together and helping each other. I said, we are a 501, and I'm new, I'm just the heart. I don't have all this behind me, like the computer and the paperworks, and which I need someone to help me do that. But, I mean, as far as that, the heart's in the mission,
Sure.
and, we just need to move forward and keep it going, because the community's really awesome. They're just awesome people.
Can I say something?
Certainly.
My name is Elizabeth Pinella, and I started volunteering. She goes every Thursday and every Saturday up to, I can't say it right, what's the name of it?
Intimates.
And gets bread and donuts. And, there's people that go in humble impression that live off that bread and those donuts.
I don't think,
These people here bring fresh food or fruit, and, I mean, these people depend on it. And also, she has got where you can, if people have gotten into trouble, they can volunteer and do community service at Humble Impressions. So,
well, I'm familiar with Servant's Heart. When my parents died, they literally brought a truck and took everything that was in the house that I inherited.
Oh,
So I don't think any of us wouldn't want you to be able to help people, but if you're going for a commercial property, the landlords have repairs to take care of, they have utilities, and they have taxes. That's why they want to rent their property as opposed to let somebody donate it. Not saying you can't find somebody to do that, but I think that's unlikely to find that kind of square footage, that somebody's just going to let you move in.
well, I mean, with the option that if they did let us move in it, that we would pay the utilities, we would keep the building up, we would, with the volunteers, because they all got different gifts that God's given.
Sure, sure.
And we would keep the maintenance up and pay the taxes. I mean, that, in itself would help us out a lot, because the high price of commercial square footage, we couldn't do it, not
Right.
with what we do.
Right.
How did you identify the person that you've been working with the past 3 years? How did that association come to be, Rebecca?
He owns the building at our original Humble, and that was one building he suggested that we could
Oh, okay.
grow into it, but with the option that he did have it up for sale.
I see.
Now, if he could get it all rented and keep it up, but he couldn't get the upstairs fully occupied to where it was hurting him more than it was helping. So he did sell the building,
Understand.
in which I understood it too.
And you are looking at some pretty short-term deadlines, unless I'm,
Yes, on the 22nd, we have to be out of this month. So I was just here to cry out and reach out and ask in prayer. I've been asking, all day, all week, just for someone to help us. Because we don't want to lose our mission. We want to continue helping people in the community.
it's commendable.
Why don't you come to, we have a meeting here next Tuesday, right here in this room at 10 a.m. If somebody could come to that meeting. It's a faith-based minister meeting.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Tuesday at 10.
In the morning, right here.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you.
If you want to come over and write down your phone number for me,
Uh-huh, I can do that.
I'll contact the place that I know of. Just right next to your name.
Or even flyers.
That's all right, that's all right. I just need a way to get a hold of you. Just jot it down there for me. I'll make some call. The guy who I know does work for me at my home. He's a carpenter, and he's going to be at my home tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And he does all their work over there at the church I'm talking about. So I'll ask him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You want to give a report, Mr. Mayor, or?
Not on Main Street. Sorry to say, but.
Good evening. Once again, Monday night at a board meeting, the board awarded bids for landscaping. The landscaping for the roundabout, Main Street, Pocket Park, and Emerson. And it's the same contractor as last year. And we are inviting you to participate again at 50% if you so choose to. There should be a spreadsheet of all of the people who bid and the price. It worked out pretty good last year, and we anticipate going again in the spring. Now, when it comes to 465 in Emerson, I've already instructed our DPW director that we are going to maintain that. And that means cutting the grass, and we're going to start cleaning up the weeds and everything, and we're going to hire somebody to pick up trash and automobile parts. So, and what we're trying to do is trying to tidy it up a little bit. It will be an everyday job up there.
You better believe it.
So you folks won't have to, as a commission, won't have to deal with that in this year. So we'll take care of that. But I do invite you to split the cost with us 50-50. No decision tonight. We'll come back in March and you can let us know if you want to participate.
That would be roughly $11,400, Dennis?
For the year.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. The only thing I would ask is, Robert, can we do that?
Emerson Avenue is in a typical, the roundabout certainly is connected to
What the Centennial Park?
I guess what I'm asking
the
is,
maintenance issue.
yeah, in that RDC statute, was it Hobart or Munster?
Munster, yeah, in the Munster decision, they held that Munster spend money to maintain a facility. And I don't know if there's another way to have something that we can do that would amount to the same.
Well, keep in mind you did it last year.
Yeah. I have no issue with doing it. I just worry that somebody will try to make a mountain out of a molehill and we'll get turned into the open door police or somebody else. But I have no issue with doing it, but there are people in the community, you know what I'm saying? And I believe in being honest, ethical, and above board. And like I said, I love how the city looks. I think this adds value. I mean, to me, it's community, it's tax dollars going to community things. So I don't think it necessarily, to me, I don't look at it as like taking care of our property, like say a building that the city took over. I look at it as a community thing. But I have no problem with voting on this next month for your thing. One thing I'd ask Robert is, can you and Craig work together to make sure we're not gonna have any issues on this? If you'll check with him, and I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, please feel free to speak up. I don't wanna monopolize.
I have no problem with it.
I liked it. Like I said, I liked doing it last year. It's like keeping your yard clean. I mean, it helps the value of the community. It makes the community more attractive. I'm all in favor of it. Like I said, I just want to make sure that there's no, I just know how certain people can be, and I just want to make sure, especially now that we'll be getting into the loony season coming up, that we don't suffer any blowback.
Is there any difference from last year? as far
I
as
don't
the
think so. I
type of
think
I
it's
don't think
very
so either. I
similar.
think it's almost the exact same thing.
Certainly, this is in support of at least 3 TIF areas.
And the fourth TIF area is the pocket park there at Garstang. That is in a TIF district as well.
Now, where is Centennial Park?
Yes.
Talking about.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Centennial?
It's where you turn off from Emerson onto Garstang. There's a tower there.
Centennial Park?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have no issues with that. I think that's a good idea.
Well, how about if we just come back in March and,
I agree, Mr. Mayor. And we can have Robert draw up the resolution and all that we need to vote on, just like we did last year, and take care of it then, because like I said, I think it's worthwhile.
the next document that I passed out a minute ago was, the city got the Okra planning grant to do facades on Main Street. And the grant was for $40,000 and then a $5,000 match, which the RDC paid $2,500, the city paid $2,500, if you remember that. That was for 12 facades. Well, the project is picking up steam, and now there's 7 more building owners that want to participate. And each building, it's for their portion of the, our portion of the planning grant is $1,500. So 7 more buildings would be $10,500. Split between the RDC and the city would be, I think, $5,250. My question is to the council Monday, and they took it under advisement, would you want to pay another $5,250 for 7 more businesses? And I'm asking you tonight the same thing. Would you be interested in adding 7 more buildings onto the facade planning grant at a cost of $5,250? No decision tonight, just take it under advisement. And in March, we'll come back. In the meantime, they are continuing with the planning grant with 12 facades.
What are these numbers?
See on the left side, the asterisks?
Right,
Those are the original people that signed up.
okay,
The numbers on the right is what they could invest personally on top of the grant. So what will happen is this spring, they'll get that grant or the plan together, and then I'm going to have them come and present it to you and the council. And then they'll submit it to Okra, and Okra will either comment on it or approve it or whatever. and then we'll be ready to apply for funding for the project.
Was the council's reaction generally favorable, Dennis, on Monday?
No, the way I presented it was, this is what we would like to do. Please study this, and when we meet again, we'll take it back up for consideration.
If-
You know, it's not fair for, you've had this 5 minutes, let's mill it over and then come back next meeting and decide.
The amount of money over and above that they're willing to commit to, do they still have to fall under the guidelines of the plan if they're, I mean, some of these are pretty good-sized chunks of money.
I think some of that is they want to do more on their own.
Okay, but does it still have to fall under the guidelines of the money that they would be getting from the grant?
I'd have to answer that. I'd have to get that answered. I'm not sure.
These facades, will they be approved? As far as like the city approves it? I mean,
Yeah, the city would have to approve it because it's a city grant.
and then I guess my other question is, all these businesses, the 19, or I see there might be a possibility of the 20th, are all these buildings in generally good repair? Because I know we have a couple I've seen that are close to falling down type businesses, and
Well, that's a really good question because one building, if you don't fix your roof, your request would probably be withdrawn. So the building has to be in somewhat decent shape to
and I guess that's what I
proceed.
worry about is I'd want to make sure that these buildings, like, they've paid their property taxes on time. Their buildings are in good repair. In other words, they have tenants. Or the tenants they have are happy with, so-and-so rents this building, he likes the building that, that's what I worry about, because the last thing I want to do is get into where we give money, taxpayer money to a building that you find out later the owner hasn't paid property taxes or is delinquent, or the people who rent it, they don't have running water. Because I've heard those types of stories out of some.
And we have those buildings.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
My only concern is that they get grant money, they fix up the building, and then the owner says, hey, I can get a lot more money now if I sell this, so you're out and I'm gonna put my building up for sale because grant money just fixed it up for me. That's a concern I
Well,
have.
but there again, if they could get more money for it, that means more tax revenue for us. But again, I think the problem with Main Street is we're very limited on parking. So it's not
Right.
like you can have a business that's gonna bring 300 to 400 people in there because you don't have the parking for it.
Right.
So it's almost, we're specialized businesses. And again, it's grant money, so it's not really our money I don't mind helping on it, but to your point though, I don't want some guy who takes that money to buy a facade, and he's supposedly gonna put a $20,000 facade up, but he puts a $2,000 facade up that looks like crap, and then walks away and pockets the change. That's kind of what happened with that Beech Grove Bank, and that's where I always have caution on these things. That I'd want to have them approved, and I'd want to have some way to protect the money. In other words, we pay for the facade, and they don't get to keep it, and we don't pay for it until we get what was in their plans originally, type thing. But those are things we don't necessarily have to worry about. But as a citizen, that's what I'd worry about.
I would, and here's what I think you should do, if you decide you want to do it, and I'll advise the council the same thing. You folks, if you want to do it, I would only do it if the council decides to do it, and vice versa. I would tell the council, you may not want to do this if the RDC doesn't want to do it. So,
I mean, to me, it's a $600,000 grant. I don't know if we're going to use all 600,000 of it, or how that works, but it's $600,000 being granted to go into our downtown Main Street area. And that's $600,000 to me of driving up the value of the businesses, hopefully making the Main Street look more attractive, which in turn makes the neighborhoods around Main Street more attractive, because maybe businesses will come that people can walk to from a block away. And I don't think that's a bad idea. Like I say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. This is definitely a good intention that I just want to make sure again that, we're not on Channel 6 2 years from now explaining where all this money went or what went to it. But I think it's a good idea as far as that goes with grant money, because it's not taxpayer money, it's grant money. So I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Those are just things I kind of worry out loud, but I'm with you, Mr. Mayor. If the city council wants to go forward with this, I would be a supporter of it.
Yeah, we'll see what they say at the March meeting.
Is there somebody on the council or a group of them that are looking at this? Or are they?
I presented it to them Monday, and they just took it under advisement.
Can I?
Please.
Yes,
You're on the
Liz.
council. We'd like to
Come on,
hear you
Liz.
talk.
We need you.
So, I want to make sure I understand as well. Are there more phases, upcoming phases for potential business owners to get involved with past this particular?
No, I think they're going to cut it off in March.
Okay. And then the businesses that are, the locked-in number of businesses, we don't even know for sure that their buildings are going to meet the standards.
There's one right now in that list that won't meet the
That
standard.
won't meet, or the other ones?
The other ones would.
The other ones would, okay. That would be my question.
One other question for Dennis is, do you know whether Okra has any clawback provisions if an owner does something like Don is concerned about, or Kathy in terms of only spending part of it, and or is it based on reimbursement for the money spent on the facade, or they get the money and then they can go out and?
The money would come, if we are awarded the grant, the money would come to the city. The city of Beech Grove would do an appropriation and put that in an account. And then the business owner or the building owner would want to do the update. They would have to pay the match to the city of Beech Grove before the project started. We wouldn't release it without the 20% match from the building owner.
Would we also wait until work is underway, or in terms of the contractors, how does that?
I would have to ask on that.
Make sure that even if the match was paid, that contractors did what was proposed in the design.
I don't know, I'd have to ask.
Would it be helpful if someone from Next Stop Beech Grove, because this is kind of their thing, would they be able to answer or help us?
I don't think they would be able to answer that question. I don't think there's anybody on that group that could answer that question.
They started the whole grant situation.
Okay, that's the two items I wanted to pass out tonight. A couple updates. The council agreed Monday night to enter into an agreement with IPL to update all of the streetlights. Over the next 3 years, the city will pay, they'll pay $100,000 every year for 3 years. And then Power Light will come in or their contractor will come in and change out all of the streetlights that are under our control with LED fixtures. They're guaranteed for 10 years, and they estimate that we will save between $25,000 and $30,000 a year. So it will take us 9 to 10 years to recoup our initial investment. But the carbon footprint after that is much greater for the city. So they proceeded with it Monday, so I supported it as well. So And then you folks did it out on Emerson with the city, and we have yet to change a bulb. And we were changing them all the time out there. So, a couple new businesses, St. Francis, at a chamber lunch today, the president said that that project over there will be done by late June. So that's good news. And then we have some new businesses coming in out in the industrial park. So we're waiting for the weather to break so we can do some outside work. That's about it. Any questions? Yeah.
Seen a lot of activity regarding the microbrewery there on Main. How close are they to being operational?
Now they're telling me in March.
Okay. Any updates on the old Beech Grove Meat Market?
Yes, their liquor license was renewed for that location, for that address. So that's a plus.
Good.
And then the building right across the street from the brewery, the cabinet maker,
Yes, Jim Huser's place?
yeah, that's in the process of being sold.
I know he's been trying to sell it for
Yeah.
quite some time.
So that's going on. And then we have a little pastry shop open in the morning.
Any idea what kind of business is going to go into Jim's building?
Jim told me the other day that it would be cordoned off for some office space. Plus, the guy who bought the building owns a large landscaping company. So that's going on. And then the old tavern here next to Eckstein's, that building's sold. So they have new owners, and it's in the midst of being cleaned up.
Good.
So then they told me today that it would remain a drinking establishment, but it would be non-smoking, which didn't hurt my feelings at all.
Another, I guess, sore spot, our friends on Emerson with the car lot. Are they any closer to being a real business, or
I don't
the one that you
know.
fought for so long?
I don't know. We're going to fight again because they've got pipe in the yard now, so that'll be the next fight. So
It's one great big mud hole over there.
it is. It is. Our friends to the north didn't do us any favors with that
No.
property.
Not at all.
That was a battle that was fought and we lost. So. I know one other thing. Pretty soon we'll be having, NDOT's calling for another meeting concerning the Greenway. So another quarterly meeting. So sometime in late February or early March, we'll meet again in these chambers concerning the Greenway. That's getting closer and closer.
We're on track with that, right?
We are right on the
We're
money.
supposed to, good.
Yeah.
I did have one question. Could you call the mayor of Indianapolis and get them to patch the holes on the bridge over Churchman Avenue?
Yeah.
I mean, Beech Grove, and I'll tell you again, I will say, they have done an excellent job. They have fixed, is it Redfern that goes to Sherman, right? Is that Redfern?
Yes, yes.
The Beech Grove side of Redfern's, at least the holes have been patched, but when you get to Indianapolis, I mean, it is bad. And Thompson Avenue is falling apart. It is, I mean, to me, that is a safety, that whole from 9th to around the corner, that parts of that road are so bad, you see people swerve onto the other side of the road. And it is, I mean, somebody is gonna get seriously hurt trying to swerve out of a chuck hole or hit a chuck hole. And I know it's not our area to do it, but somebody needs to step up and patch those holes.
On Redfern Drive, our DPW director wanted to put a sign up right at the boundary saying, you're on your own.
Oh, trust me, I mean, my wife and son drive that way every day to go to school, and I've gone that way, and I mean, it is bad, but when I come home from work, I take Churchman from Raymond into Beech Grove, and that bridge, it has got huge holes, and they're getting worse. And I don't know if you can use your influence to maybe get them to throw something in there, but I mean, it is bad. And then Thompson Avenue, I mean, the heavy amount of traffic, I've watched people swerve over to the other side and seen cars almost being forced off the road trying to avoid those chuck holes.
I do want to have an update on Thompson. We applied for funding for sidewalks on Thompson, and the initial score came back really good for us.
That's good.
So I anticipate good news from that. Now, at the chamber lunch today, I told the audience that in 2017, the city of Beech Grove, we tracked potholes. And in 2017, we filled 114 potholes. That's it. That's all we fill. There's 114 potholes on Troy between 25th Street and Keystone. It's that bad. It's terrible.
Oh, I know.
So I'm done. All
No, I
right.
mean, I saw them out when it was halfway decent. They were doing Redford, and then they even came in my community because there was like 4 or 5 where that road's starting to come apart a little bit, and that road's 21, 22 years old. And I mean, it's just now getting to the point where you're starting to see certain areas of it. But no, they did a great job of that. It's just, I guess it's our big brother that's around us that, you know, I just worry about public safety on Thompson Avenue because I've seen
It's
enough
terrible.
people. I've seen enough people swerving. I worry about a head-on collision happening one day or something like that, and somebody really getting hurt. And I just, you know, I don't know if Indianapolis would pay us back for it, but it seems like there should be some type. I mean, if we got the equipment and the crews and can fix it, bill Indianapolis. But I mean, it would be cheaper than having to explain why it didn't get done. And I just wish Thompson, they could fix it because it is bad. And the amount of traffic that's on there, somebody's going to get hurt. And we know it's going to happen. And that's where I hope that we can be more proactive in getting some asphalt in those, especially if it's supposed to warm up to 47 or 48 tomorrow. Warm weather after this freeze and all this water, guess what's going to happen? That the ice is going to melt and these roads are going to collapse. So,
All right. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I
Thank
saw
you,
you on
Mr. Mayor.
TV today.
Really?
Yeah, they were broadcasting it live.
Oh.
Well, you were talking. How could you watch? Is there any other business in the audience or crowd? Any comments or anything? If not, I think we've conducted all our business for the evening, unless you guys have anything else.
No.
Well, if not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make said motion.
A second.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned at 8 o'clock. Thank you. We will see you March 8th at 7 PM right back here in the city council. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.